All right, so the 2.11 update has been awesome. I've been having a lot of fun with it, just trying out their new plugins, putting it into some of my samples. That's fun, but I just recently picked up this new synthesizer. This is actually the Mavis by Moog. And this is actually my very first synthesizer. I'm a total beginner with synthesizers, and this is actually at a very cheap price. However, this is not gonna be a review of this synthesizer. I will do a video on that later, but just found this combination very interesting, connecting this synthesizer into the MPC, and then just coming up with some interesting sounds and matching the keys to my samples has been very, very fun. So what I'm gonna do right now with you is I have a sample that I chopped up and I wanna bring in some bass into some of my samples. Now I'm creating some analog bass with this Mavis, and not just using the sounds coming from the Mavis, but also using some of these new plugins like the Amp Simulator and Air Flavor. Now I do wanna run through Amp Simulator and Air Flavor since these are the two plugins that I'm using to add some character to the sound that I'm getting from the Mavis. And another thing that I'm gonna be using is the tuner. As I'm sampling into the MPC, I'm able to detect the key that I am coming up with on this small synthesizer. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this small synthesizer, there's no keyboard that I have hooked up to this. I'm simply using these small pads down here, and that's pretty much what I'm just playing with at the moment. Okay, so this is my setup right here. I'm gonna go ahead and play the beat without the synthesizer plugged in yet, and let you listen to what we have so far. So that's the raw beat by itself, and it sounds great. I like how it sounds, but I want to start bringing in some bass into this. And like we mentioned in the beginning, this Mavis is an analog synthesizer, so I'm able to just create any type of sounds from this machine using some of these parameters. This is not going to be a full review on this. I'm just using this to demonstrate the setup on the MPC. But what I have going on right here, I'll let you listen to this. I'm actually going to turn off my processing on the MPC. This is the raw sound coming out from this machine. Now this thing sounds awesome. Like, I was surprised. I unboxed this. I had to put it together myself, and it took me a few minutes, but nothing that I couldn't do myself. It was really fun putting it together, but once I have this put together, it's so small, very lightweight. It looks like it can do much, but the sounds that I've been getting out of this have been so powerful. And that's that. I'm a total beginner at this. This is the first time I jump into an actual synthesizer, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this, and more on this later on. But right now, that's the sound that I have. That's the bass sound that I came up with. And if I open up this page as I'm sampling into the MPC, if you guys have messed around with this insert section as you're sampling into your MPC, you could add plugins to the signal that you are sampling. And when you add plugins to that signal, it's going to be sampling that signal processed by whatever you have going on over here in your plugin section. So what I did to this bass sound is I added Air Flavor in the top just so I can add some texture to the sound. So you hear a little bit of that noise coming in from Air Flavor. And then right after Air Flavor, I popped open this Amp Simulator. This Amp Simulator has been just, oh man, I honestly, I cannot explain. It's just crazy. It's been very fun, especially when you're sampling in. If you have a bass, a guitar, you know, a synthesizer, just adding this texture to your sound. Let's listen to what we came up with right here. Now, there's obviously different cabs. We could listen to different ones. That's crazy. Man, well, actually, this combination right here will flip over your speakers in a very good way. Like, this thing has been knocking the speakers right here at the studio. And as you guys can hear, now that we have this sound, if we turn that off, this is what we had. With it back on. That's really nice. So now the way I've been using this is if I hit play on the MPC, we'll listen to the sample. And in the MPC, if you guys have been using the MPC, you'll know that the MPC will detect the key of the sample. So once I detected the key of this sample, it told me that the key of that sample was in D. And sometimes, I mean, it could be a hit or a miss, but now that I have a starting point of what key the sample is, if I open up this window right here, this is new in 2.11, but if I click on this, I'm able to detect the key that's coming in. So I'm able to match the key to the sample. If I hit play and I hit that note, I can kind of tune my instrument. So as you can see on this Mavis, I'm just using this pitch parameter, and that's how I'm matching it to the sample that I have. Again, I've mentioned this before, I am not no musician, so if you were to tell me to play you something in D, I don't know how to get there. I could just listen to the signal and try to match it by ear. So that's been very helpful. Honestly, creativity is the limit right here. I'm using some of the MPC sound and mixing that with this analog synthesizer. Just having the combination of these two has been really fun to mess with. And I know what 2.11 drops on the 23rd of this month, which I believe it's on this Thursday, by the way. And if you guys are musicians plugging in guitars, pianos, synthesizers, using some of these new plugins has just been awesome. It's been really fun. Just for the last part, I had this reverb turned on right here. I'm actually going to turn it on. Just kind of adding some space to the bass synthesizer. That just sounds big. So you get the idea. Being able to plug in instruments into the MPC and using some of this processing with some of these new plugins definitely takes your sampling to a whole different direction. Now I know I've made videos and I've been putting Amp Simulator and Air Flavor onto sample chops that I've already chopped up, and that's been very fun. But just having this combination of plugging into your MPC like an actual instrument and using some of these plugins just come up with some very interesting sounds. Let me know if you guys got any questions. Let me know if you enjoyed this video down in the comments. Also, let me know if you guys are excited for this Thursday where the 2.11 drops. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and checking out this video. I'll catch y'all on our next video. Peace.